The new MacBook Pro with Touch Bar is an interesting laptop. It's got a better design, a much larger trackpad, and a bunch of other features which are pretty cool. I have to admit, I never expected that I'd like a MacBook this much, but with that said, there are still some things that really let this laptop down. Starting off with build quality and design, it's great. The whole laptop screams premium build quality and it really can't be beaten. It's definitely thin, very light, and it's a pleasure to use. This year they're ditching any plastic that was part of the design and going for an all metal, in this case beautiful space grey look, which I absolutely love. It's also got all the small things nailed down, like a one-hand hinge mechanism and the vents all being hidden. The whole laptop from every angle just looks great to me, and that's not something you can say about a lot of other laptops out there. When you open up the laptop, you see the speakers on either side of the keyboard, and they're actually pretty good. Above the keyboard you'll see the new touch bar, which I'm going to go over later in this video, and also the touchpad. I'll also go over that in a second. I bought a nice little sleeve for this laptop, which is great for traveling, and that actually leads me on to portability, because in terms of portability, it's got everything you'd expect for using it on the go, apart from a good battery life. My first one I had came with a faulty battery which went down 1% per minute, and my replacement isn't a whole lot better. It works fine, as you would expect for any laptop, but that's not a good thing. This is a £1,750 laptop, not just any laptop. Because of that, I'm expecting top of the line battery life here, and this simply isn't good enough. It's hugely disappointing, and it really can't be forgiven for a product like this. Now, if you want some exact numbers on the battery life, it is hard to say, but it would last me about 4 to 5 hours of constant use. That's using the speakers and the touch bar and the brightness being something like 70%, but I don't think 5 hours is good enough. I think it should last something like 10 hours, especially at this price range. I know it's not reasonable to ask for that for a laptop, but I definitely don't think this is good enough. As for the touch bar, it's a touchscreen OLED strip that replaces the old function keys, and it provides a lot of interesting shortcuts and features. In Safari, you can use it to open tabs, cycle through tabs, you can even scroll through a YouTube video, which was super cool, and that's actually something which I found really useful. Since it's a wide and thin strip, it's great for scrubbing through your timeline on Final Cut Pro. It can act as an extension for the keyboard, which was actually great in concept, but not very useful in reality. In fact, nothing about the touch bar is really exciting. It can be very practical when you want to quickly adjust the volume and brightness. In fact, that's why I use it most of the time. It's literally just for adjusting volume and brightness, and it's even cool as a hub of shortcuts and extra information, all things which I use it for on a daily basis, but it's just not that good. Touch ID doubles up as a power button, and it's definitely a nice addition which allows you to unlock your MacBook, but aside from that, it doesn't do much as you'd expect. I mean, it's a great piece of tech, and yeah, the function keys are pretty much useless, so it's better than what we had before, but it's definitely a complete ripoff. You can easily do without it, and I wouldn't recommend going for one of the baseline 13-inch models, which are the only ones this year that don't have a touch bar, but what I'm saying here is that maybe you don't need a 2016 model. I'm going to touch on that at the end though. Now, moving over to the display, things do look a lot better, and that's because this is the 13-inch model, so it comes in at 2560 by 1600, and I have to say this is a really good display. Colors are vibrant, it's super sharp, and the brightness goes very high. Viewing angles are also great, both for the touch bar and the main display. It'll also be great for outdoor use when the sun's shining bright, but as I already mentioned, the battery life isn't going to do you too well for outdoor use. I think that no matter what you want to do with this laptop, whether it's watching movies, designing things in Photoshop or InDesign or whatever you want to use, this is going to be perfect for it. The display is really good, and yeah, the resolution can be a little bit weird. Obviously, if you have 2560, you would want 1440 to stick to that 16:9 aspect ratio, but I haven't seen a problem with this. Videos are going to have black bars in YouTube, but it's not an issue for me. I'm completely fine with it, and I think it's a great display. Now for dongle life. Is it true? Not for me. All I carry around is a Satechi USB-C hub, and all my problems are solved. It's small, it fits right onto the side of the laptop, and I can carry it around in my laptop sleeve. So yeah, I don't think dongle life is a real issue, but that doesn't make it okay. Firstly, about this USB-C hub, they're not cheap, and I wanted the one that sticks right to the laptop. It isn't actually an extra wire, and that costed me about £23. That's ridiculous for a USB-C hub. It's really expensive, but obviously you've just bought a MacBook, so I don't think that would mean a lot to you. It did for me, but it is definitely annoying. And as for the actual port situation, this is a pro laptop. A lot of people have said this before me, and I agree with it. It's lacking the features that professionals need, especially an SD card slot. I can understand dropping the old USB ports, someone has to push the changes, and who better than Apple. But SD cards, I mean, they can't be replaced by USB-C, and almost all video cameras use them. It's extremely frustrating that they didn't include it, and that's one thing that really annoys me. However, that said, with USB you can charge your laptop from any side, which I found to be really practical when I need to plug in, because there won't be any awkward bending of the cable. Of course, you can even charge it from every single port, so that's not the practicality, and one thing that I heard people saying is that they wish there were more ports on this laptop. Personally, I haven't seen this, I don't even use the ports to be honest. I am planning on getting things like a mouse and maybe even a keyboard for this, but for now I think 4 USB ports is more than enough, and obviously you get a headphone jack, which is great to see. To be honest, I really like the whole USB-C thing and what it offers, because for the future it's going to be really cool. In terms of speed, these are fast. My model only comes with a dual-core i5, and yet it's pretty much the fastest device I've ever used. All models come rocking a built-in PCIe SSD, which is definitely going to be the reason for it, and I really like that. They've made the MacBook Pros faster this year, and the boot up times are crazy fast. I haven't even had a single instance of stuttering or lag using this laptop since I got it. As for the keyboard, it's very nice with a satisfying click for each key and a decent amount of travel. They can be a little loud, but I don't really think it's a huge issue. Nothing really stands out to me with the keyboard aside from it obviously being a high quality one, but that goes for most things in this laptop anyway. The trackpad. I love the trackpad with this MacBook. To start things off, it's got a force touch design, so when this laptop is off, it just won't move. It feels really weird to try to click it when it's off, but when it's on, the OS actually tells the motors under the trackpad to vibrate, giving you a bit of a tactile click, and I have to say it feels just like the real thing. If you click harder, you'll jump into that sort of 3D touch area, and you'll be able to do more things, like in Safari you can peek at a tab, which I found to be really useful, and as for size, yeah, it's big. The extra real estate can be super useful, and when it is, you just kind of stop and admire the fact that they included it. The best part about this force touch design is that no matter where you click, it's going to click. With other trackpads you have to click nearer the middle, that's not the case here. Now moving over to the software, this is more for the Windows guys out there, because obviously I moved from Windows and I've never used Mac OS before. The software was a little bit confusing for me coming over for Windows, and you'd expect that, but I made the adjustment in just about 2 days. Mac OS is actually fairly similar to Windows in a lot of ways, but they also do a lot of things differently. It's a good operating system, and the best part about it is how well optimized it is for the hardware. As I've already mentioned, this dual-core i5 feels great on the MacBook, and it's probably going to have a lot to do with the optimization. I also like the little things like how new windows don't take up the whole screen, so you can click back to previous windows in the background. Using a Mac, you also have access to exclusive softwares like Final Cut Pro X, which I absolutely love, and it's great to have coming over from Windows. Now of course you lose out on a lot of software which is exclusive to Windows, but throughout my whole time using this, I've never found myself wishing that I had anything exclusive to Windows. Everything I need is on my MacBook, and that's why I really use this a lot. So overall, this is a good laptop. It's very fast and it looks and feels great. It really is a very high quality product, but they just make some decisions that leave you questioning why. It seems like with the ports and the battery life, which are the only main downsides I've seen with this laptop, you're paying more for less with the 2016 MacBook Pros, and that's not a good thing. Honestly, I feel like you might just be better off going for a 2015 fully spec'd MacBook if its flaws turn you away. That said, if you've watched this far and still haven't made your decision, I think it's a great pick. It obviously means that you haven't fixed your choice on the 2015 model, and for that reason, I think you're really gonna like this laptop. Personally, I don't regret buying this. I think the 2016 model was the right choice for me. Even getting a fully spec'd out MacBook wouldn't make a big difference because, yeah, you do get extra speed, but this is already very, very fast. Anything moving over from my previous Windows machine to a MacBook pretty much from 2014 and onwards is going to be crazy fast compared to my old machine, and that's really what I'm after here. It pains me to say, but as much as I want to give this a straight 10 out of 10, I don't even think it deserves a 9. It's just way too expensive for what you get, and some of the decisions like the ports just don't make sense. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'm out. Peace.